Hey everybody, here we are in our Portland office. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Craig.
And we work at Treehouse. So I'm the founder and Craig teaches Java and all sorts of things. And we just wanted to do a live session that would focus on how to get your first job in technology. Specifically, how do you get your first job if you don't have a computer science degree, if you don't have a ton of experience? It can be scary and hard. And so Craig has a lot of experience. I have some old experience as a developer a while ago, and we hire developers here. And I think we're just going to talk through the realities of how to get a job when you don't have a university degree, give you some thoughts about that, encourage you a little bit. So if you have questions, please pop them in and we will take them live. The idea is ask any questions about getting a job in tech, how do you get over hurdles, things like that. So the first question I have is, if you are thinking about getting a job in tech, where might you go to find out what jobs are available in your area, and how do you know if they're right for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I believe in Meetups a lot.
Ooh, Meetups.
I like to go to meetup.com, find out what's going on there's a whole tech section. Go to any sort of tech thing there that sort of interests you.
Cool.
You'll depending on what city you are in, I'm sure that differs, but there's every night of the week here there's something going on.
And where do you find them? Sort of meetup.com or just
Yeah, meetup.com is definitely the place to be doing that.
Cool. So people are just joining us. We are discussing how to get your first job in tech, or how to get your next job in tech, especially if you might not have a computer science degree or a fancy degree that will get you that job. Hey, Liam, what's up? That's my nephew. So Craig was just talking about the importance of going to meetups.
Right.
And why is that important?
Well, you're going to see all sorts of different people there. And what's kind of cool about going to these meetups is that you'll find that all sorts of different companies are hiring for these tech jobs that you aren't going to be thinking about, like a tech job sort of place.
Right.
I mean, one of the ones that blows me away here is I'll bump into people and they'll work for Walmart.
Right.
And you're like, oh, you work for Walmart, and oh, you're a greeter. Oh, wait, no, you're a tech. You're
a developer at Walmart.
Yeah.
Right. And so it opens your eyes to jobs you didn't think about.
Totally. Or things that you like, cool stuff too that you didn't think about, like health. There's lots of cool jobs in health, I think. That people building apps and things that are changing lives and things like that.
That you wouldn't know about.
That you normally wouldn't know about, and just by rubbing shoulders there, you kind of see your eyes are a little bit open more to how big this tech world is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I guess the other advantage to going to Meetup is that you can establish a personal connection to somebody.
Oh, absolutely.
I've noticed that whenever I want to get something done, if I've met the person, it's like my success factor is like X times 10.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Just, so that's helpful.
And it's a small world too. This person knows that person knows this person. You'll start talking and say, well, this company over here is hiring.
Right.
The more they start talking like that.
So we had a quick question. I'm going to try to scroll up. So Rena says, thoughts on the value of a certification versus four-year degree. We're going to go into that, and that's kind of the point of the session. Hey, how do you get a job in tech if you don't have a four-year university degree? The answer is that it takes a lot of work to learn to code and then prove your worth and your value to a potential employer without a degree. The degree is kind of the automatic, okay, I guess you probably know how to code. But the reason why we built Treehouse is because we believe that a lot of people can't afford that four-year degree, or they can't afford the time to go. And so we're going to talk about that. Okay, how do you get over the hurdle? So we will get to that. Yep, is it necessary? Marcel says, is it necessary to get a degree to work in tech? We're going to talk a little about that.
I don't have one.
Yeah.
I don't have one. I've been doing this for 30 years.
See, that's encouraging. He actually teaches, and he doesn't even have a degree.
Yeah.
All right, we talked about Meetups. So one way to help find a job that might be right for you is to go to Meetups. That's a great piece of advice. Now, say that you have found a couple jobs that you are interested in. Now what? What do you do?
Right. So I like
Big
to.
question.
That was.
Oh, we're back. Sorry, it disconnected.
I don't even remember what I said. The knowledge is gone.
It's gone.
The answer.
Okay, so what do you do? The question is, okay, you found a couple jobs that you want to apply to.
Yeah.
What now?
I think you definitely want to find out what their tech stack is. Also, try to figure out what the culture is like there.
Okay.
Right? Like,
how do you do that?
Get good at Googling. Right?
Okay. So Google a lot.
So you probably can find somebody who works there. And again, I'm going to keep on harping on this. The more you know about somebody who works there or around that industry, or you can find information out about the place. Find out what the culture is. Find out what the tech stack is. There's a couple websites.
For people, what if people don't know what tech stack means?
Oh, true. That's true. Thank you. Good there. What technology are they using there? What programming languages? What frameworks? Which are ways that you build the different tech that's there. There is a site called, I'm going to say it's called what'sthisbuiltwith.com.
But you could probably Google it.
Yeah, you should Google that. But if you do that, it will show you. It tries to guess based on what the code is that's being rendered on a website of what they're using there.
Got it. And so, so for instance, you may see, okay, there's a job at this hospital as a developer. I've figured out that they write things in Java. And then that way you can obviously, then you need to learn Java. There we go.
There's builtwith.com.
Nice.
Thank you, Darius.
One thing I want to encourage.
Well, actually, I mean, to that point, Ryan, let's if there's a job posting, hopefully there's going to be some things on the job listing, and if not, that's also something that you can ask about.
Cool. One thing that we're learning, and I want to make clear to everybody, is that without a 4-year degree, you're going to have to apply to a lot of places. The world is learning the value of these other credentials and these other sources, but we're not there yet. You can absolutely get a job without a 4-year degree, but it just takes more work for I would say about a 3-month period where you basically are every day applying to, 5 or more jobs, and then practicing, your whiteboarding skills and prepping for the interviews, and then the next day emailing 5 more. And so if anyone has ever done sales, it's kind of like selling. You basically know that eventually you're going to make the sale, which is getting the job, but you just have to contact enough people in order to have a job come out the bottom. And that's totally normal. Like you're not failing, you're not bad, there's nothing wrong with you if you have to apply to 200 jobs, to get, eventually 5 offers. And that's okay. You just have to do the work.
Yeah. And I think on top of that, they're all, while the time involved is difficult, it's all learning, right? You're going to learn, and you actually learn a lot when you're in an interview, if that's a place that you want to work or not, like the way they treat you and the way you want to go through. So.
Totally. So I guess the piece of advice you're offering is sort of, when you're doing the interview, make sure to ask questions about them, because you're kind of getting married in a way.
Yeah,
so
for
you
sure.
want to say, who are you? And how are you going to treat me? Say that you have identified where you want to work, you are getting ready to apply. What are some recommendations you would give people about their resume or how they present themselves?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I always think that the best idea to do is say why. Find out, like Ryan said, find out why it is that you want to work there, and tell them how awesome their company is and how much you want to work there and how much you're willing to learn for them. You love the tech that they're doing. You want to help move things forward. Make sure that you're expressing the skills that you're going to bring to the table, because you will bring skills to the table, especially if you're passionate about what the job is that you want to do there.
Right. So figuring out. Yeah, I think you're right. So saying, I specifically want this job, and it's because I believe in XYZ that you're doing, and I want to be a part of that. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I think I want to try to instill this, that being confident in the fact that this 4-year degree, if you don't have it, be confident in the fact that you can do this and that you are learning this stuff, and be confident that you can pick this new stuff up and express that. That, hey, but look at all this stuff that I learned.
Right.
Like I learned
I'm
this
learning.
stuff. Yeah.
Right.
I'm learning, and I am driven to learn. And
Right.
I'm picking this stuff up on my own, and there's these new channels, and express that, help drive that change.
Right. That's a great idea. Yeah, because what you're demonstrating is that you have grit, that you have desire, that you have motivation, so that even though you didn't get served this education on a plate at university, that you've gone out and made it happen.
Yeah,
so I think that's a great
sure.
point. So there's a couple of questions. I want to make sure not to ignore you all. Doing questions. And just to remind you all, I'm Ryan. I'm the founder of Treehouse, and this is Craig. He's a Java teacher here, and we are talking about how to get your first job in tech, and especially if you don't have a 4-year degree. So Christian says, as a newbie, what would be more valuable to a potential employer, teachability or experience? How do you display that to the employer? That's a good question.
That is a wonderful question. I think that's wonderful. So having been a hiring manager before, I would always listen for people to say, I don't know how to do that, because that shows that they're open and aware. I don't know how to do that, but I can learn it. That's the magic phrase, right? So and kind of live with that attitude of like, look, every project that you go into, the technology is changing so rapidly. Not everybody knows everything, and people are more aware of that, right? They're more hyper aware of that. There's this, I need to use this React and Redux thing. Well, that hasn't been around forever. Somebody had to learn that, right? So that's a skill. This not knowing yet how to code is starting to become a skill, and being able to pick up these new technologies. And I know it's overwhelming, and I am so sorry for the world that you're in right now of learning this stuff and trying to pick it all up, but being on top of that game and being able to say that I can learn this stuff and I can do this stuff is a new skill. It's a new skill that people are going to start looking for.
Yep. I would recommend that people really focus on listing the things they've built, and saying, I've built these things, right? And not discussing your education or anything. Just say, I built these things.
Yep.
Here's the link to the repo. Here's why it's a special project.
Let's back up to repo then.
Right.
So and this is awesome. This is an awesome time to be alive with the social media take. I mean, here we're talking to you over Facebook.
Right.
There's social coding. If you don't know what that is, there's a thing called GitHub, and you can share your repos or repositories up there, right? So you can push up your code and you can share like, hey, I built this thing, and put everything up there.
Yes.
Just put everything up there, because the more it is, the more active it looks, the more you're growing, and you'll see that you're growing. And once you put it up there, you'll start making it better too as well.
Right.
Right.
Do you would you recommend trying to commit to open source projects? Is that a way to show credibility, or no?
Yeah, actually, I wrote a post on the Treehouse blog about it's a great way to learn. There is a website, and again, I don't have these websites in my brain.
You're not Google? What's going on?
Where you can, it will show you open source projects is software, a lot of software. Especially if you come back and you look at where that built with that we were talking about earlier, you'll see that a lot of the internet and a lot of everything that we use is built on open source technology. And those repos are out there, and you can use them. You can use these things called libraries. You bring in other people's software. Well, you can actually commit to that.
Right.
And so now what you're doing is, hey, look, you have experience working with a team, and it's free. Right. And so there are, and that's, I understand that is completely intimidating the first time that you think about doing that. Take a look at it though. You'll see that oh, this is how code is working. This is how people are doing it, and I can make a change to this. And they could be small. Everybody needs a little bit of help in their documentation, a typo, and then you'll start getting into the rhythm of it. And that is absolutely a way to get experience without having experience.
Right. So
and you're helping too, right? So remember, that's like volunteering.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because really, we see a lot of jobs saying they require 2 years of experience. It's kind of, cut and paste. Yeah, 2 years of experience. And I want to encourage you all out there to think of that 2 years as hours coding. Less about, okay, I was in this job for a year and then I was in another job for a year, and more about, hey, how many projects have you built? How much have you learned? And really talk about that. And you're not trying to hide the fact you don't have a degree. It's more just saying, I have built all these things,
right.
And really focusing on that. So
yep. And sometimes some of the stuff that you might be building is in newer technology than the people who are in jobs who have 2 years experience.
Right.
Like, it's important to remember that.
That's exactly right. Wow, you folks have been cool. Kenneth has been helping us out here.
Firsttimersonly.com.
First timers only. Thanks, Kenneth. Okay, we got your message. You stop posting that now. All right. Okay, so let's. Kelly says, "What do you think about a person in their 50s doing a career change to web or application development?" First of all, awesome.
Yep.
That's what we think about that.
Yep.
But do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Kelly, you are bringing with you. I'm assuming that you're 50, and
Right,
that's
yeah.
what the question's coming from. You're not asking for somebody
Could be
else.
hypothetical, but
Okay, hypothetical Kelly. That is wonderful because you are bringing with you a world of other experience that people are looking for. Okay, so you've seen business flows or other processes in your time in the workforce that is incredibly important.
super valuable.
And combining that with tech skills is huge, and I highly recommend.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we absolutely would value someone with life experience.
Yep.
I mean, I'm just old enough now. I'm going to be 40 that I kind of realize, gosh, I'm actually learning a lot the older I get. And not that we hire young people too, and they're great. We're not ageist at all, but wow, there is super value to life experience. I actually think a lot of people may think, for instance, that being a full-time parent would be a disadvantage, but the reality is, holy cow, being a full-time parent is super hard. What if you're a single parent? That's even harder.
Right.
So you sort of come in and you realize, whoa, if someone was able to be a parent and now they want to work for me, I should hire them because that's really hard.
Yeah, and they're really good at multitasking. Like a baby and...
So I could do 10 things at once. Well, cool. We'll take a couple more questions and then we'll probably rock and roll. So Vic says, how far along should I be in my front-end developer tech degree through Treehouse to start seeking my first job? Well, that's a great question.
I would always, if you're thinking about looking for a job, always be looking for the job. Always. Don't miss an opportunity.
Yep.
Just always keep your eye out, and then you know where you're headed to.
Yep.
I think that really helps. Like look for where you're headed and head towards it.
That's a great answer. So Vic mentioned something called a tech degree. Just in case you don't know, we've created a credential that really guides you specifically through this process of becoming job ready for becoming a developer. And the idea is that you do real world projects. So you typically do around 12 of those as you're learning. So you go through our curriculum and then you do 12 projects that are dispersed among there. And then those projects are graded. And then you have Slack, which is a chat tool to ask questions and get support. So that's what tech degree is. We have seen several of our front-end web developer tech degree students actually go out and get jobs after like the fourth or fifth project.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
And that's not normal, I would say, in a sense, because they actually haven't learned a lot of the stuff that we think is important, but it shows that there are jobs out there and that those jobs are looking for people's work. A really good example was a woman named Ashley, and she was, I can't remember if she was in our front end or our full stack. I think she was front end. Yeah. So she was doing our front end web development tech degree. And after just 4 projects, she thought, maybe I can go get a job. And she put her 4 projects on our resume and
on GitHub.
And on GitHub, exactly. And that was the most important part. Hey, here's my code. And they saw that she had done things like pull requests and done these, kind of things that indicate this person is learning how to code. Mm-hmm. And she got the job. And, she got a job as a QA developer, which is kind of the beginning. But now she's already thinking about becoming a full-blown, full-stack JavaScript developer. I mean, so yes.
And now she has that experience that we were talking about that's on the resume.
Yep.
And I want to get back. Let's get back to that experience just a little bit here. I also wrote a blog post about this. The important thing to remember is to be trust in yourself that you can do this. Be confident about it. We see a lot of people, and ladies fall into this more so than men do, where the job requirement will say you need to have 2 years experience, and the ladies are like, I don't have it, I'm not going to do it.
I'm going to be honest that I don't have it, so
and
I'm
I
not
don't
going to
have
apply.
it, so I'm not going to do it. And some of the fellows are like, well, I'm going to try it anyway, and then they find that they get the job. I want the ladies to start doing that too.
Yes.
I know it's not built in that way, but please go do it.
Absolutely.
Please try, even though it says 2 years experience required. Try that and look at that like hours, like Ryan was saying. I think that's a really good way of looking at it. You have spent 2 years worth of experience learning this stuff.
Learning. Yeah. And a lot of jobs list a huge long list of requirements you have to know: React and JavaScript and Angular and Node and really they're just sort of saying, hey, it'd be kind of great if you knew all these things.
Right.
But the reality is no one knows all that stuff.
Right.
And as Craig said, there's been studies, this does negatively affect women more than men, because women see that list and they think, I don't have all those things. I'm going to be straight up honest about it and not apply. And the men are like, maybe it'll work. I've only got 50%. And then they end up getting the job.
Right.
So.
And again, let's look at this again really quick. A hiring manager is like, we need this, and somebody said, okay, so I'm going to put together this thing and post it out here. And by the time they played a game of telephone, they don't actually need that thing. Right. That's the important thing to remember, is that some of these job things that you're looking at aren't even real. You could actually have a job if that job posting was better. So
yes. Amen.
Breakthrough.
Amen. Yes. That's such great advice. So. Let's take one more question. This is so fun, and there's so many good questions. I don't want to cut off, but poor Craig does have actually things to teach and curriculum to get back to. So, Gavin, we'll take your question. Do you think there is a future in web design front-end development, or will it die off? That's interesting. I would say absolutely yes. The reality here is what we're teaching you will change, and so you're going to get your tech degree, or you're going to go through Treehouse, and then you'll get your first job. And the reality is, in 18 months, the things you learned on the tech degree will be out of date. We're going to update the tech degree, and new students will learn from it. But the reality is, everything you learn is going to be out of date.
Right.
And so, yes, it probably will change.
Yeah, totally. So just think about this through time. The magazine. I'm sure magazine designers at one point were like, "Oh, I'm learning this." Now the magazine's gone.
Right.
The websites they're becoming a thing that you talk to, right? Like there's these the apps on your phone are I don't even see the app anymore. I know. So if that's where your question is heading, that design is still important, and that mindset is still important, and I think that we're always going to need to visually market some stuff, and the lessons that you learn here. And the styles that you code there are going to be the roots of what builds things going forward. Right?
Exactly.
So they're.
Yeah, we're going to evolve. Yep. Technology will evolve, and you really just need to get comfortable with where we're at now, and then you can evolve too. I mean, that's the whole reason I started Treehouse, is because, the degree that I got, I have a computer science degree. It was so out of date, even when I graduated. Now it's really out of date, and it's like, in the future, education needs to be adapting. You need to kind of go back and learn a little bit again every 18 months, or usually actually every day. But the point is, it's totally normal to be learning, and it will make it fun and exciting, to learn new things and build new things. And I mean, Craig and I were literally talking about React yesterday and saying, holy cow, like React really changes the game. Like, what does that mean for, native mobile development now?
Right.
And actually, it's kind of exciting, because it means, well, if for some insane reason, native mobile app development goes away because you can build it all in React and JavaScript, well, that just means all the people that do mobile development are going to learn React and JavaScript, because you can. Yep. You can learn this stuff. Yep. So. Well, listen, you all have been super fun, and thanks for asking great questions and giving us lots of likes whenever you like or love us. It goes across the screen.
Yeah.
That makes me feel good. Yeah.
Felt good. Like pats on the back.
Totally. But yeah, thanks so much, everybody. We're back. Thanks, everyone, for joining, and we would love for you to keep hanging out with us whenever you can, and send us messages on Facebook. And Craig, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks.